Hello. So, I don't really care what you're doing right now. I need you to stop and come check Eleanor's shop this week. We have 3 days left as this video goes up. So yeah, the Coda Motovore rolled perfect this week. And this is kind of once in a lifetime thing. The Tenet weapons, the melees, you didn't really care about them because you need to farm for the currency to buy them on Railjack, so I only bought one version of them each, and I kind of forgot about them. But farming the leeches is kind of easy. You don't really want to miss this, because this weapons, it has one of the most interesting, unique effects that they ever thought of, in my opinion. And it also changes the aesthetic of the weapon as well. So we're gonna talk about a little bit about this gun, this melee weapon, and yeah, just a reminder: if you can log in right now, grab this. So the Coda Motovore, I genuinely didn't know this was a hammer before I got this, so it can benefit from the slam builds pretty well because hammers have a pretty high slam damage and everything. But the interesting thing that this weapon has is one, melee, like melee IPS mods, like absolutely insane on it. Yes, that does include the primed heavy trauma, but I think the impact, um, the stat itself, and whatever, and the attack speed that is providing here, isn't really necessary. You can get attack speed from a lot of places. Um, and I don't think impact by itself is just a really good, like, it doesn't really compete that well against slash, in my opinion, at least for like melee weapons in general. So we're gonna be showing off the slash build. um I know you can like ignore the passive, but it doesn't feel really too genuine to do that. You can just drop this and use it as like an actual melee influence, like just put shocking touch here, and you're gonna be getting more from the build simply because melee influence is that strong. But I felt like not using it was wrong, so we're gonna be using slash, and it's going to be, helping with our upfront damage and everything. And galvanized elementalist is gonna benefit a lot from it. It can't really benefit. Puncture impact can't really benefit from galvanized elementalist. And the Tennokai, I don't really like Tennokai that much, so I usually ignore it. But this one's kind of cool. This mod in particular. But you can use whatever you want in that slot. I got to 5 pharma. You kind of need 2 for this weapon if you don't care about the mastery. Like 2 Vs and that's good enough, honestly, because from the extra 10 and the extra 8 that you're getting is more than good enough to slot everything that you need. I only noticed now that it's a fucking wheel from a scooter, and it's honestly one of the coolest effects they ever done. Like, yeah, on impact it's a lot of like blunt rocks. On puncture it's a lot of spikes, and on slash it looks like a porcupine, really. Like, yeah, it looks awesome. One of the coolest weapons they ever done. But the fact that we're trying to like, so the main thing for me in the build is the fact that we're trying to fight the slash with electricity, right? The influence isn't really too effective here because we have very little weight towards electricity, right? Because Buzzkill is so strong, and it gets multiplied a lot here. We're getting way too many slash and very little electricity. But the passive that we get from slash helps a little bit. I'm not sure if the status chance that we're getting here works like an extra mod at the end here, right? Kind of like what is it? Kind of like this. I'm not sure if it works that way, or if it's a base status chance. If it's a base status chance, then it's kind of insane. But regardless, I think it's okay. I kind of wish it was any of them provided extra crit, but we can like get around that pretty easily as well. Melee weapons always been really strong on the crit side. So I'm just gonna hop on Lua for 5 minutes to show this off. I think I'm gonna use Kullervo for it, because I really like Kullervo for melee stuff. And, you know, it's gonna show how strong it possibly can get. Also because I have 5 Tau Forged melee crit damage, which brings my crit to almost 11x. Yeah, probably over 12x with what is it? The galvanized steel fully charged. Also, the default polarity for the stance is Crushing Ruin, the V, and we're gonna be spamming the what is it? The combo forward, right? Because it has a pretty crazy like spin attack, and when you start stacking attack speed on it, it looks crazy. It looks insane. So we're gonna be spamming that. All right. Now I don't think I'm gonna have any problems on, you know, on Lua with this weapon, especially with Kullervo. But we're gonna occasionally use the buffs because it's funny and silly. Yeah. That's ridiculous. Yeah, so the whole thing about you know, the slash fighting for the proc chance with electricity, I think I see it more like you're getting a lot of the you're getting a free mod slot pretty much. You don't have to slot electricity on the build. The same thing happened for the Zori's glaive, right? It has innate like force status for electricity. Same thing with the Arcatitron. That's why the hammer is so ridiculous. You're getting use of the two most powerful two most powerful mechanics right now in the game, which is melee influence and slamming, like, on the same weapon, which is ridiculous. Yeah, this combo is pretty good. It reminds me of old what is it, Maiming Strike, but it's obviously not as strong. Melee influence by itself is already pretty strong, but I think the meta back then was just much more prevalent. I think it's the same right now, but it's just different. You don't need a specific weapon, you just need a arcane slot, and that's it. Pretty much any weapon builds the same way. You just need to slot electricity on it, put galvanized mods, which, by the way, I don't think they were necessary at all for melee weapons. They kinda just launched that out of nowhere. But oh well, they are cheap to get. They're not very cheap to level up, but they are cheap to get anyway. I don't understand why the enemies aren't spawning. $5 million crit right there. Yeah, it gets ridiculous with Kullervo's passive, not passive, Kullervo's 1, the Ratful Advance. I could have put Condition Overload, but I think it's overkill, it's unnecessary, and I prefer having the upfront damage anyway, instead of waiting for the procs from my Deriga, because realistically we're only benefiting from like two status, which is Lash and the electricity. Yeah, I mean, is there anything else to show? This weapon's okay without the buffs, and it's really good with the buffs, and but then again, my Kullervo has a shit ton of investment onto it, so you might not get the same results. I think the only cool and necessary things is Arcane Fury and Arcane Strike. Like that for any melee Warframe. Even one of them is pretty good. And if you don't care about Strike, like, or one of them, you can like put Valkyrie's helmet ability with the augment, the Warcry. It's kind of insane for attack speed. It's actually ridiculous because it also gives you armor. Pretty sure. I need to try that on an armor Warframe at some point, such as in Arrows or Corvex. Let's try on this guy. Yeah, he's dead. Nope. He's dying. Yeah, he's dead. And the whole explosions of electricity and status and whatever aren't happening too often because of the lack of proc towards electricity, but you know, we still have slash on a hammer, which is pretty good. I didn't feel like trying like a slam build and heavy attack because that shit's getting old, really. I'm trying to enjoy the combos by themselves, but you also not going to end up using maybe 1 or 2 combos on the stance because this block combo is awesome. Like on top of giving you a boost, also does a lot of instances of damage, like and a slam attack. Yeah, which like staggers everyone around you. It's pretty good. Yeah. Oh, my Diriga did not survive that. Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, big hammer. Interesting mechanic. And yeah, you need to grind the Lich right now to get this because I'm not sure. I mean, I've seen twice now that we had 55 or 50-ish% on the Eleanor shop, but 60% I don't think I've ever seen. I don't think I ever spawned one of the old Liches with a 60% weapon like ever. The highest I got was like 57. So that's I just think it's pretty rare. So yeah, I think we got pretty lucky with whatever algorithm they got going for the percentage. But yeah, was that 11 million damage? Well, I think I've showed enough of this gun. Wow, something removed my whole overguard. Everyone says that the Jade Shadows, Lich, what is it, Eximus are strong, but I think the heat guy is pretty annoying. They usually just one-shot my pet. So yeah. What else there's to say to this? You don't need many forma because I think electricity by itself is good, and melee weapons have extra capacity anyway. And yeah, if you don't want to use the passive, the mechanic and slot like IPS mod, I think it's completely fair. But for the sake of, using the thing that's being available to us, I just put the slash mod there, and slash is pretty good. And with the galvanized status damage mod, it works pretty well as well. So yeah, that was a quick video on the Coda Motovore. As soon as this gets uploaded, go get it, please. It's pretty crazy to have 60% right away like this, and I don't think it's going to happen very soon again. So I already bought a few of the melees, but not as good as a percentage. I mean, 52% is pretty good. That's why I got this. But yeah, 60%. Still kind of crazy, and it's an interesting melee and unique as well. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's been just a heads up, but everyone's already talking about it. But yeah, see ya, bye bye.